It's time to get down to business with me, Gulshan Sharma. A man wants what he wants. But what does Donald Trump want? A Nobel Peace Prize, ostensibly. But somehow, Trump's obsession has become problematic for Indian diplomacy. Trump has reiterated that he was behind India-Pakistan truce, and his lament that he would still not get the coveted Peace Prize. I am now joined by Lieutenant General Syed Ata Hasnain, a brilliant strategic mind. General Hasnain, Asim Munir's lunch with the US President has ruffled feathers in political and diplomatic circles. But you argue that it's not a big deal. Why is that?
First of all, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me for your show. Yes, I have written this particular piece, a strong piece of expression where I have disagreed with this perception that this was this particular lunch was something which was completely against the interests of India diplomatically, strategically. I happen to state that primarily because I go by the history of Indo-US relations. In fact, US relations with the Indian subcontinent. US-Pakistan relations have been very strong. Right through from independence, I would say, from the 50s. Because Pakistan joined SEATO and CENTO, two very major alliances of the Cold War, assisted the United States in that. Much of the spying on the southern portions of the Soviet Union were done through various U-2 flights undertaken from air bases like Peshawar, etc. And similarly, this continued right at the end of the Cold War. There was a hiatus for about 10 years. And after 2001, when the United States decided to enter Afghanistan, that's the time when Pakistan once again came to its assistance. And that particular 20 years that the United States spent in Afghanistan would not have been possible for it militarily in any way if it did not have the full cooperation of Pakistan. So what Pakistan was essentially doing is it's extracting its pound of flesh and reiterating its relationship with the United States each time. 24 times it has gone to the IMF to be bailed out economically. And we all know who controls the IMF, who has the maximum drawing rights in the IMF. So it's for all these various reasons, I tried to explain that, look, when President Trump wants something done, he wants a personal favor, he got something for his family or whatever it is, I'm not sure what exactly he wants. If he's looking for a Nobel Peace Prize, he's not going to come to India. He's going to probably go to Pakistan. Because Pakistan and the United States enjoy a long strategic relationship. Besides that, he trusts Pakistan perhaps to a greater extent than he trusts a democratic country such as India.
We'll come to that, sir, in a minute. But you also say that the US is using Pakistan for tactical purposes, and that does not diminish India's stature. But some are saying that Trump should not be taking Pakistani general's name and the Indian Prime Minister's name in the same breath.
Yes, I know a lot of people are saying it's a question of a virtual hyphenation. How does that matter to Mr. Trump for a short-term gain at this particular time? He changed his opinion overnight after the 35-minute interaction with the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji had with him, that telephone call in which Mr. Modi explained to him very clearly that there was no question of any intervention from the United States and that the ceasefire for Operation Sindoor came about primarily because the two sides agreed to it on their own and without any particular pressure or intervention on the part of the United States. And so Mr. Trump changed his mind and he said, yeah, of course, it was Mr. Modi who did it on the Indian side, but he continued to stick to his stand that as far as Pakistan was concerned, he is the one who had sort of pressurized Pakistan. No, all this is obviously for gaining some kind of a favor from Pakistan, and we are hearing what that favor is in the media. There's nothing very authentic about it, but here there are reports that Mr. Trump is primarily seeking a nomination for the Nobel Prize or whatever that be, and
Ask.
that is
Let me
the
also ask,
prime.
sir. Let me also ask in plain and simple terms, can India ever allow Trump to claim Nobel Peace Prize by using the India-Pakistan conflict?
Look, it's not necessary that he's going to use only the India-Pakistan conflict. This is one of the subsets that he may possibly use. That may be a contributing factor to this entire thing. It need not even be the most important, it need not necessarily be the flagship point. But yes, that's what I mentioned tactically. If tactically he uses this particular thing to further his own cause, to further his personal agenda, then so be it. But Indo-US relations are on a different keel. We are more strategic, we are long-term. We have seen over a period of time how Indo-US relations have withstood various obstacles and challenges which have come our way. We saw what happened with the nuclearization of India. We saw later on that despite the nuclearization, we did not easily sign the various other agreements with the United States, like BICA and COMCOSA and things like that. So it has taken its time, and our relationship is an enduring relationship. The United States needs India for the Indo-Pacific, particularly. It needs India in the Quad, and it is sticking by that. It is entirely sticking by that, and that aspect, that relationship is continuing. These are obstacles which will come in the way and get swept aside and are essentially only tactical issues.
Let me first play the bite of Mr. Trump, and then we'll again touch upon that point.
I want to thank him for not going into the war, ending the war. And I want to thank, as you know, Prime Minister Modi just left, just a little while ago, just left. And we're working a trade deal with India. We're working a trade deal with Pakistan. And they were both here. But I was with Modi a few weeks ago. He was here, actually. But now we speak to him. And I'm so happy. There was a deal that two smart people, plus, they have people on their staff too, but two very smart people decided not to keep going with that war. That could have been a nuclear war. Those are two nuclear powers, big ones, big nuclear powers, and they decided not. So I was honored to meet him today.
General, you say that an American general would first shake the hands of a Pakistani officer before an Indian officer. What is the story behind that?
Oh, it's not really a story behind it. It's a fact, in the sense that you can ask this from most Indian Army officers who have attended programs of training or interaction with the United States Armed Forces. I'm one of them who's done it. And I can tell you, I've got very close friends in the US Armed Forces. But I know for sure that if we are in a lineup and a US general enters the room, he's not going to make a beeline for me. He's going to make a beeline for the Pakistani. He recognizes the Pakistani probably. He looks at their uniform, and that uniform looks much more familiar than the olive green of the Indian Army. The khaki of the Pakistan Army perhaps looks much more familiar to him because they've been at it for very long. We became strategic partners much later. I won't even say we are yet strategic partners. We are on the path to becoming full-grade strategic partners. 1991 is the first time when you heard what is called the Kicklighter proposals. The Kicklighter proposals were essentially General Kicklighter from the US Pacific Command, who came to India with this proposal to promote Indian military and US military to military relationship. We are all aware that military to military relationships usually add to the political relationships. In fact, many times political and diplomatic relationships ride on them. And that is exactly because they knew that they could do business with India now that the Cold War was over. So we are 40 years behind in terms of that aspect of the relationship. But the importance of India cannot be overruled because as far as the United States is concerned, India, a much larger country, an economy 13 times larger than that of Pakistan, a huge population, a larger landmass, and a very important segment of the Indian Ocean. all these aspects are those which the United States fully recognizes. So if it overlooks all this temporarily to go back to a US-Pakistan relationship for a particular cause or a particular need, I call it a tactical requirement.
Sir, Pakistan's stand will be in the conflict between Israel and Iran. Will it allow US to use the airspace? Could it be the reason behind Trump-Munir meeting also?
Look, let's be very clear when it comes to international geopolitics, geostrategic affairs. There is always a gray zone. Most countries optionalize, they enhance their own options. To my mind, what the United States is doing is essentially enhancing its operation, its options. Should it require to go into this war, join the war effort with Israel, it may perhaps want to launch its offensive, its air offensive on Iran from a completely different direction. And that obvious direction is from Pakistan. So it is optionalizing basically. We still cannot even conclude whether Pakistan has offered its airspace, has offered its air bases. This is only conjecture at this moment, which is what the media and most of us in the strategic community are talking about.
Finally, sir, my last question. What can India at this stage do to counter Pakistan's old geopolitical playbook?
I would strongly say India should remain confident of itself. India is a strategically very important country. It's an emerging big power. It's already a middle power and it's an emerging big power. We are about to become a $5 trillion economy in the very near future, and we have all the potential of becoming a 10 trillion and beyond economy. Nations such as ours, large nations such as ours, do not get perturbed by tactical bumps which come along in the journey in our path to greatness, to becoming great powers. And I think the world understands and recognizes India. If there are tactical blips which come in the middle, these should just be ignored.
You are saying, sir, we are a serious country, but we should not take such events very seriously. Am I right?
Absolutely. These events will keep coming our way like this. Each time we keep jumping to that event, obviously it will not really contribute to our greatness.
General Hasnain, thank you for joining.
Thank you very much.
सेवा